Hey guys, making a quick video, and this is gonna be a update video on my Captain Sisay deck. So I figured I was pretty much done with this deck. I ended up trying playing with it. Unfortunately, I was playing with it multiplayer. Knowing that multiplayer, this was probably not the best deck. I ended up making some changes to make it more multiplayer-esque, and it's actually working out pretty well, and I pretty much got everything down. Now, I am still waiting to get my 2 boxes of M25. I'm going to be hopefully getting the Azusa Lost but Seeking, and I'm going to be taking out my Moss Diamond, I believe that's what it's called, the artifact that comes in tapped, and then you get a green mana. It's not that great, not that useful in this deck at all. It's too slow, so it's a card I'm going to take out. So as you can see, I made quite a bit of changes. I ended up getting Oracle Maldaya. I ended up just getting it just because it was available and I had the money. It's actually really not that great in this deck. It actually kind of hurts it somewhat, so I might be taking this out. I'm still testing it, but I mean, it's a great, powerful card. You may play an additional land, play with the top card of the library revealed. You can play it if it's a land. So it's very nice because you do get the land drops, but with my deck, I don't have quite that many lands. I tried to run it as few as possible because I don't really need that much to go off, just because of the mana rocks and everything. But it is a elf, so it does work with my alternative win, and you're gonna see I do have quite a bit of alternative win conditions now, in case things go bad. So I'll go straight into those actually. So my alternative win conditions are getting big fatty creatures. So Clonian Behemoth, which is great because it's a big beater with Shroud. It's great against blue decks. It That Betrays is great. It's an Eldrazi Annihilator too. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that on your side of the field, so it kind of has that control-esque kind of feel, which is great. 12 mana is very expensive, but I can definitely get that with my mana ramping pretty quickly, actually. So, and my deck stays consistent if I can get to a certain point, so I can get out 12 without any issues. Last card, my big money card, and I definitely am seeing it paying off, is Craterhoof Behemoth, which is great. When Craterhoof Behemoth enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This is devastating, especially if I am able to get my combo off with Paradox Engine. But even without Paradox Engine, if I'm using elves, I can play this and win the game. If I have my any of the elves out, and I'm getting enough tokens out, or if I have also my Elspeth, and I just use her +1 to create 3 1/1 White Shoulder tokens, I can just spawn a whole bunch of tokens and then play Craterhoof Behemoth. It's a very devastating card. Did not know how devastating it would be in this deck until when I started playing it. I was like, ooh, it's a big fatty creature. I kind of like it. So I played it, and it's very, very devastating. And boy, it is. It's changed games a lot. So I'm really happy to have that card in this deck for sure. Going on with more creatures, I ended up getting the oh-so-hated Gaddock Teague. It just works so well in this deck because my spells, a lot of my spells, especially later on in game, are super small and are just to keep me alive. So this really does not slow me down that much. I can still get my big creatures out because it's only targets non-creatures. So it's great. It works very well in this deck. Ulamog, the Infinite Gar. I don't know how I did not know about this card. I found it out when I was playing. A guy was saying that I should add this to my deck, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then the guy came in with new trades and had a, or the store actually came in with new cards to sell, and this was one of them, so I ended up picking it up. Didn't realize how crazy good it is, and I am so happy. Another legendary creature. This one is a legendary creature that I can actually get out with the combo, and I can actually attack and win for game with that one creature too. It's very, very nice in case something happens to my creatures. They get wiped out somehow or something happens. This card typically will stay out because it's indestructible. Last card, the questionable card is Magata the Lion. I love it because it's a Spell Shaper legend. So it is a legend, so sisay can target him and get him out into my hand, and I can play him. He has the tap, discard 2 cards from your hand, destroy all creatures except for Magata the Lion. Those creatures can't be regenerated. So this is great if I do get my combo off with Paradox Engine, because I am going to have enough cards in hand to basically Wrath of God the field, except for my cards, because all my cards will be indestructible with Avacyn. But this is also great late game if things are not working well for me. The only drawback is that it's discard 2 cards. I can easily, and I found when I had this card in my hand 2 games in a row, I was not able to use it because I did not have 2 cards in my hand to discard. So it's a very situational card. I've learned though that it's not always the card to target for with Captain Sisay. There are better cards like Ulamog or Gaddock Teague that I should be going for. So it's a kind of card. It's good in this deck. It's just, it is situational. You got to play this deck pretty smart now at this point. I added all of these cards, other cards to Lightning Greaves and Swift Foot Boots, just so I can keep Captain Sisay on the field and use its ability as quickly as possible. I also have Silence. Your opponent can't cast spells during their turn, which is great, and enchant creature can't attack or block. So, sorry, I'm gonna have to go over here. But with these cards, I am actually able to save my creature with these cards. And the very important thing with this deck is to be calm, and there's always an answer for everything, and that's what I tried to do. I thought I had done it. Then I tried to go fast. It did work, but it works only for 1 versus 1, not multiplayer. And I might go back to that if it does. This just doesn't work. I don't see any way I could make this deck any better for multiplayer. But yeah, this deck is working very well. It's very, very intense, very powerful, very fun to play if things are going right. Unfortunately, though, the play group that I am playing with in the tournaments that I'm at for Commander, they are playing decks that are similar to mine. There's a Paradox Engine Wizards deck, which does the same thing as mine. I don't even know why it is my deck's considered infinite when his isn't, when I'm doing the same thing as him pretty much, so I don't know. But this deck can go off without even using the Paradox engine, really. And it's doing a good job. It's getting more and more consistent on getting the bigger creatures and getting creatures that I specifically need. So it's working very well, and it's a great situational deck that is great on the fly. My only issue is the draw. It's just not quite getting enough draw power. If I was getting enough draw power, boy, this deck would be very, very deadly. So I might be throwing in some. I might try to figure out if there's a way I could get some better draw power in. But anyways, I wanted to give you guys the update, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.